And remember that at the end of the afternoon, he showed TV Globo a printout of Carla Zambelli's phone number. I said, wow, this is the proof of... And Carla Zambelli, who I had with great pleasure, invited to be the best man at her wedding. I want to confess something to you here. I was in the Northeast, my wife was at a wedding, and I could have arrived on time for the wedding. And I decided to tell the people on the plane, hey guys, be late, I'm not going to the wedding. Because if I get home in time to go to the wedding, my wife will grab my neck and leave. Why? And I will. I don't want to go to the wedding. I can even tell you why. And I ended up not going to the wedding. Oh, why? Okay, let's tell you why, okay? It started at the beginning of Moro back there. Well then, secret session. So what's the session flash drive? Stay with me. I always took that flash drive. I took the best ones. How do you take the best moments here and spread your program, show a scoop, something? And then, Minister Celso de Mello, his decision that I had to show the secret session. I didn't have to show it. It's arbitrary. It's a minister's meeting. It's not a session of Congress or a city council that was recorded, and then the president has to show it. I reluctantly showed it. I gave the tape to Celso de Mello. And then, a few days later, he released the tape. So much so that the press took the tape and put it on the screen. Then there was a lot of swearing. 29 swear words. Now, at no time did I interfere in the federal police. I said my security in Rio de Janeiro is like this, like this, like this, like this. I'm going to change my security. Moro left halfway through the meeting. He thought that by not responding, he said, you see, he didn't hand over the tape because there was interference. And if I interfere, do you think I would speak in a session, whatever it may be? You are surprised by the federal police all the time. There's a good side, and there's a side that goes a little overboard.
Does Moro say that this change in management has to do with the possibility of collecting information from the PF?
He talks, but he doesn't prove anything, my God. Come on, how did the end of the honeymoon begin? Imagine on your honeymoon you separate from your wife, right? Or your husband. Feel free to do it, okay? Don't discriminate against anyone. Yeah, that beard doesn't mean anything to me, okay? So you can see what happened when I was elected in 2018. Immediately, the Cuban doctors in quotation marks, fled Brazil. I didn't end the PTs, Medicos program. They left. I was going to get the guys. There was everything there, except doctors. There were people from the Cuban Special Forces. There were agents who were making guerrilla squads here in Brazil. I was going to come to you, Cuban. Come here, benzotassel. Eye drops, intravenous, intramuscular, oral. Stupid question, right? But the nurse will answer. Quickly. We are devoid about the plan. They weren't going to answer.
I didn't try during... Did you have this information that there were some guys forming a guerrilla cell here?
As you can see, the Cuban doctors here, in addition to the big salary, 80% of their salaries went to Fidel Castro, right? For example, you live on this street here. There's a birthday party on the other street. The system, the Cubans, didn't let the people who were guarding go to the party. He had to stay confined at home. Risk retaliation in the family in Cuba. Something came up that the Minister of Health said when he was discussing the measure to use more doctors. If any Cuban asks for asylum, he will be deported, as the two boxers were. And the press remained silent. I tried to amend the project there, so that the Cuban salaries would be deposited into their accounts at Banco do Brasil, Caixa Econômica, but I couldn't. It was a way of giving money to Cuba. And Cuba here, with many of them, forming a serious guerrilla movement here in Brazil. Cuba has always exported guerrillas. That's how it was during the time of the MPLA, the Angolan guerrilla movement. It's always been that way. I was going to ruin that. Do you remember when Dilma said that doctors were good at feeling people up? The humble Brazilian people, when they are treated well, they are happy. You don't need to know anything. So the doctor would feel the bellies of Brazilians with some problem, and they were satisfied. And certain medical prescriptions, you can have access to doctors, safe prescriptions, absurd things. Imagine what would be done here with these Cubans during COVID. Well, when I took over, they left. I didn't send anyone away. I said whoever stays here is the one from the asylum. More than 2,000 stayed. So, I'm in Brazil. I kept my word. And then another person fled Brazil, too. A certain Cesare Battisti, who on the last day of the Lula government in 2010 won the right to stay in Brazil, which the Supreme Federal Court said this is its competence, the executive power of the president. It grants asylum or not. Well, our dear Cesare Battisti, a terrorist, 4 executions in Italy, belonged to the PAC, Armed Proletarians for Communism. That's why the PAC back then had that name. So that no one talks about PAC. They talk about the Growth Acceleration Program. So, Cesare Battisti now ran away. Well, at the beginning of January, in the first days of my government, he was arrested in Bolivia. Evo Morales then arrested the guy and called me. It was me, Moro, Ernesto Araujo, 2 or 3 other people, me talking to Evo Morales.
Evo said that. I mean, it's a funny thing.
Yes, because he was from Sao Paulo. But Evo Moro, at that first moment, didn't want trouble with the president, who follows a completely different line. He knew that I wanted his liver to deliver to Italy. I knew that. So the conversation there, and Moro insisted that Cesare Battisti, before going to Italy, pose at the base. He was from Brasilia. At first I wavered, showing off a trophy. But then God gave me a light. I'm going straight to Italy. And where did I get it right? I may be wrong. But it's the beginning. Who was Cesare Battisti's lawyer until 2010? Answer me here.
I have no idea.
Luis Roberto Barroso, Dutch, 2010, Dutch lawyer told. I once had a fight with him at the door of the Supreme Federal Court. I have a photo of Cesare Battisti in Papuda when he was imprisoned here. Chico Alencar next to him. Sul Presinio next to him, like a great hero. A guy who executed 4 people, including 2 police officers. That's why Lula is mad at the police, okay? Well, what if Battisti had stopped at the air base in Brasilia, where Luis Roberto Barroso was in January 2019? Answer me. Me? Answer me.
At the SEFI.
Are you starting to understand the story? There would certainly have been a bailiff at the base, ordering Cesare Battisti to disembark. Or I would start my government with the left paw. This cancer inside Brazil. Problem with Italy. When? As for ego, was it Moro's ego? Or did he know this could happen, or was he a saint? I don't know. Thank God I sent him to Italy. I was going to start with, very badly, sorry for the abuse of Prionasso, my government with the terrorist, who was the symbol of the left. And when Cesare Battisti landed in Italy, he confessed to the 4 crimes that Barroso always said he was a political persecutor. I understand. Do you understand? Do you want a chair? Do you want a chair?
No, you can keep that chair. Are you crazy? It's so bad that I would hardly be this thing of being president, of being a politician in general. Well, then let me talk about something else here. Well, we've already talked about that amnesty thing there. But man, that 100-year secrecy was also an issue that the media hit you with a lot, right?
Yes.
This secrecy, from what I've seen here, has some issues like Pazuello's presence at the demonstration, your vaccination card. I think there are 4 cases where you put this secrecy.
Simple stuff. But what's going on?